In our last video, we talked about the inception of the Masterlise series, which is widely regarded as the best type of Dragon Ball figure that you can collect today. They're iconic, high quality, and have over 200 figures for you to collect at the time of recording this video. I encourage you to watch the first video in this series before watching this one, as you'll learn that Masterlise wasn't always so great. Maybe like me, you'll learn to appreciate the figures that we get today. But in today's video, we're going to talk about a very special time during the Masterlise life cycle when I started taking content creation, Dragon Ball collecting, and even educating myself on this hobby a lot more seriously. This will also be the time when the series evolved, and you'll see that Masterlise became exactly what it is today, the greatest type of Dragon Ball figure. We do Dragon Ball figure reviews, news, and more here on the channel, so if you don't want to miss out on the hottest releases and news, make sure you subscribe. Let's turn the clock back to 2020. Real world problems are occurring, everyone is stuck inside, but hey, at least we got Ichiban Kuji coming out. Bandai did release a couple of Ichiban Kuji at the beginning of 2020, but their first Masterlise release, the name of this Ichiban Kuji was History of Rivals. The idea behind this set was to have Goku along with a history of his different rivals. Pretty self-explanatory, right? For this Kuji, they chose two different characters to go along with Goku, and I find them to be very interesting picks. The entire set lineup has Broly as prize A, Masterlise E-moving of base Goku and Goku Blue for prize B, Yamcha for prize C, and the last one prize was a manga colored version of Yamcha that also came with a mini Poir figure. Oh, and this set marked the premiere of a new type of figure, Dragon Archives, which were minifigures. These would be chibi versions of different Dragon Ball characters across the different pages of the manga and different episodes of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. For this set, you had a random chance for this prize to pull either Goku from Dragon Ball Super Broly, Broly from Dragon Ball Super Broly, Yamcha after seeing Bulma's boobs in Dragon Ball, and Oolong and Poir when they were disguised as Bulma and Goku in Dragon Ball. The Dragon Archives figures are incredibly charming and have become a little rare and expensive on the secondhand market. As for the Masterlise figures in this set, I do have some mixed feelings with them. Broly is an excellent choice, and certainly the standout of the set, since Dragon Ball Super Broly was still pretty hot for collectors at the time. As for Goku though, doesn't he look familiar? Well, that's because he's literally a recycled copy of the Kokoni Kiwamadari Goku that we talked about in the last video. The only difference here being that he has a swappable head and better shading. I'm sure tons of collectors and fans found that pretty lazy and uninspired. There could have been far better choices for Goku if you were going to pair him up with Broly or Yamcha in a set like this. Maybe Goku holding his snow jacket before fighting Broly, or maybe Goku in his god form doing the god bind technique. The possibility and choices were infinitely better than what we got for Goku in this set. Yamcha though, he was a really great choice. While many don't think of Yamcha as one of Goku's rivals, he was technically Goku's very first in the entire series. Yamcha gets clowned on a lot over here in the United States, but Japan loves him. The last one prize being an alternate color for Yamcha with his brighter manga-inspired colors with a Poir is a bonus and definitely a nice touch. But I do think fans were satisfied enough with the quality of Broly and Yamcha in this set. Before we move on to the next section, I want to talk a little bit about Goku Day. Goku Day is celebrated on May 9th each year, primarily in Japan, because the numbers 5 and 9 are pronounced Go and Ku respectively in Japanese, which together obviously form Goku. The Japan Anniversary Association officially recognized this date as Goku Day in 2015. It's a day for Dragon Ball fans to really celebrate the iconic character, Son Goku. Sometimes Bandai likes to give us a commemorative figure of Goku on Goku Day. Now, even though Bandai did give us a Goku figure within the History of Rivals set, there was another set that came out the month after that really recognized Goku in a figure for Goku Day. June 2020 delivered an Ichiban Kuji to all of us that had many notable releases, for better or for worse. This is Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball Super Ultimate Variation. This set's idea or theme was to have multiple characters across different parts of Dragon Ball Super in a single set. Bandai went nuts and included 7 different Masterlise or Ichiban Kuji type figures in a single set, and that is huge. There are a lot of highs and some lows to talk about in this set, so let's talk about them. Super Saiyan Goku for Goku Day was a really nice choice for a commemorative piece. Super Saiyan Goku is obviously iconic, but this was also our first Masterlise of Goku, or any character really, about to fire a Kamehameha. UI Goku was fine, I guess? Yeah, he's finally a different sculpt to the first 2 that we received from Kuji sets of the past, but did we really need another UI Goku? Plus, this one just felt a bit too scrawny and didn't emulate Goku's imposing power from the anime. Prize C was yet another King Cluster Broly, but while this one reused most of the body from the 20th film Kuji sets figure, he was a notable improvement. Better paint application, better likeness and proportions, and a better pose. Gogeta Blue as Prize D was also a notable improvement from the 20th film sets. The pose was more iconic since he was striking his pose he did before fighting Broly in the movie. Prize E is when things get a little wacky, as it's just a recolor of UI Goku to include UI Sign Goku. This figure carried the same problems as the first UI Goku in this set, but I also find it strange that Bandai still didn't give him his iconic blue shirt as depicted in the anime. Prize F is definitely the biggest loser in this entire set. Vegeta Blue doesn't even know what form he's supposed to be in for this figure. His eyes suggest that he's Blue Evolution, but the hair color, armor, and proportions suggest otherwise. Oh yeah, and he's also terribly ugly. He's got bug eyes that are way too wide for his face. But the one figure that's carrying this entire set on his back and being one of the most recognized and expensive Ichiban Kujis to buy over the last 10 years has to be the last one prize, Shenron. In our last video, I mentioned a sculptor who made some Goku figures that I found pretty low bar in terms of quality, and his name was Iwakura Keiji. Well, Iwakura also sculpted this Shenron figure, and this is a great example of where Iwakura is in his element and excels. Shenron was exceptional due to his size, detail, and features. This set had a couple of notable figures in it, but Shenron was really what got collectors excited, and likely many fans in Japan pulling as many tickets as possible to win that amazing Shenron. So while these first 2 Ichiban Kuji sets in this video definitely had some low points, I think they had enough high points to outweigh the low points so that collectors were really invested and excited for what came next for Masterlise. But still, nothing was really hitting that hard until now. Almost every single set for the rest of this video are critically acclaimed bangers that many fans recognize as one of the best Ichiban Kuji sets of all time. And it all really started exploding in August 2020. Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball Super Strong Chains! So you have to shout Strong Chains whenever it comes up on the screen because it has the exclamation points in the title. So you guys get it, right? Yeah, we're on the same page? Cool. Strong Chains was a set focused on Goku and some characters he's strongly linked to. Prize A was an exceptionally well done Masterlise E-moving of Master Roshi. Not only did we get him in his black gi that we don't often see, but Roshi came with 3 different heads. One of him with his shades on, one of him screaming with no shades on, likely from his fight with Piccolo Daimao, and a final head of him as Jackie Chun. This figure had loads of details that fans love to see, plus who doesn't love the ability to have 3 different heads? Prize B is a fan favorite, and our first Masterlise Krillin based on the moment he glares at the Saiyans after they kill Yamcha. This figure is still regarded as our best Krillin figure to this day. Prize C is where things get interesting, as Bandai decided to recycle the legendary Dragon Ball Memories Vegeta to create a base Vegeta. This is likely the best base form Vegeta figure to this day, and remains one of the most expensive Masterlise figures to collect. Prize D is cut from the same cloth as Vegeta, as it's Goku in base form, leveraging the sculpt of the Memories Goku figure. This is one of the best Goku figures on the market, and one of the most expensive figures to collect in this set. The last one prize is interesting, as Bandai elected to recycle the Krillin in this set with an alternate pose and expression, but he does come with Kid Gohan from the Namek arc. These are all incredibly expensive and rare to collect today on the market, but they are well worth the price that they go for. Finally, the Dragon Archives continued within this set with 4 more charming minifigures to collect. You got Roshi in a suit looking for a Peachy Peachy gal, the mermaid Goku brought Roshi in order to train him, and Gogeta Blue from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Clearly, this set is incredible. It's still hailed to this day as one of the best sets to collect. It had a pretty limited release as it only really came out in Asian territory, so that really helps in its collectability and rarity, but also makes it a bit more expensive to buy. In October 2020, one of the most popular Dragon Ball Ichiban Kuji series, if not the most popular Dragon Ball Ichiban Kuji series, began. Ichiban Kuji, Dragon Ball vs. Omnibus. Dragon Ball vs. Omnibus's name is synonymous with excitement, as fans always expect to see notable releases, a variety of different characters across the history of the Dragon Ball franchise. This set was only released in Japan, likely because of manufacturing issues at the time of its release, but it still had an incredible lineup of Masterlise figures. Prize A was UI Goku. While it was yet another UI Goku, I do feel as though this is the best scaled version that they did. He was in a dynamic pose, similar to when he was about to strike Jiren in the anime, and didn't have that dark tan that the Battle of World Goku had. Prize B was our first and only Masterlise Jiren, but this went even further beyond as Bandai made him a huge Masterlise extra figure. Jiren has tons of details, and due to him being one of the few figures Bandai made, he's a holy grail. Prize C is Super Saiyan Gogeta. This one is clearly recycling the blue Gogeta from Ultimate Variation with a really unique paint job that makes his jacket, hair, and eyes glisten in the light. He's also the best scaled Gogeta we ever received for Super Saiyan Gogeta. Prize D was his counterpart, King Cluster Super Saiyan Broly at full power. I think Broly getting recycles was just a kink for Bandai at this point. Very weird kink. Prize E was our first and only Masterlise Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This figure is incredible and the best Super Saiyan 3 Goku you can get to this day due to his shading, sculpt, and impeccable likeness. His counterpart was the best Kid Buu on the market. Majin Buu had rarely gotten figures up to this point, so finally getting a Masterlise of Kid Buu, the strongest form of Majin Buu, was amazing. Finally, Bandai dropped the biggest bomb on us by having a new Softfix Uzaru figure. This time, Iwakura Keiji created Uzaru Vegeta for our last one prize. Clearly, this lineup was amazing. Nearly every single figure in this lineup was either brand new to the Masterlise series or the best of its kind within the series itself. It's one of the best sets they've released to this day, and seeing the desirability and the crazy prices on the secondhand market for each of these figures, even right now, speaks volumes for how great it was. 2020 was hitting so hard for Masterlise, and fans were ready for more, but the question was, could Bandai keep delivering? Well, in our last video, we mentioned that the first Ichiban Kuji for Super Dragon Ball Heroes was one of the worst Bandai had ever produced. The figures looked odd, and the selection was pretty strange. So when Bandai announced a follow-up to that set for November 2020, plenty of fans were skeptical about it. But hey, let's give it a quick look before we completely write it off. Prize A is Super Saiyan 4 Broly as a King Cluster. The prospect of a large Super Saiyan 4 Broly figure was very enticing, and this figure is somewhat of a fan favorite in the community. Prize B was another nice surprise as Bandai created a Super Saiyan God Xeno Trunks. Trunks getting a god form in the Masterlise series before Goku is pretty crazy, but you know what? I'm here for it. He's got a super cool pose, plus the figure has wonderful details surrounding it. Also, who doesn't love seeing Trunks with his sword out? Prize C is yet another Gogeta Blue figure, which frankly, nobody asked for. This one also had very strange proportions and a pretty poor likeness. Prize D is our first Goku Black figure since Kokoni Kiwamadari. Unfortunately, he's a complete downgrade from a likeness and shading standpoint. Plus, why didn't we get a different form for Goku Black, like base form Goku Black? Prize E gets even stranger because Bandai decided to re-release the previous year's Super Dragon Ball Heroes UI Goku figure, but now with a metallic paint finish. This ultimately makes the figure look cheaper and worse in my eyes. The last one prize at least gives us something a bit different, as Bandai does an alternate color for Super Saiyan 4 Broly in this set by making him Dark Broly. Dark Broly was a unique character from Super Dragon Ball Heroes, so seeing him as a figure in this set was very appropriate. While there are some cool and unique forms like Super Saiyan 4 Broly, Super Saiyan God Trunks, even Dark Broly, the series was still being plagued by rehashes of Gogeta or Goku Black, and the figures just had less quality than the predecessors of the series. We also got the introduction of another new series that is either just as popular or even more popular than Dragon Ball vs. Omnibus, beginning in March 2021. Dragon Ball EX is just as popular as the Omnibus series when it comes to Masterlise figures. Their sets are always themed for certain characters or arcs within Dragon Ball. Their first EX set was the Warriors Who Defend the Earth. This set was focused on Goku and his friends as Earth's defenders during the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai in the original Dragon Ball and the Saiyan Saga in Dragon Ball Z. While this was our very first EX set in the series, this is actually a spiritual successor to History of Rivals and Strong Chain. The reason I say that is because those two sets had the Dragon Archives figures, which the Dragon Ball EX set would carry on throughout its entire life as an exclusive part of their Ichiban Kuji series. Even Bandai seemed to push this idea because they used photos of various Strong Chains figures like Roshi and Krillin to pair with the rest of this set. The lineup was stacked, starting with Prize A, Goku, and Gohan. Inspired by the eye catch for commercial breaks in Dragon Ball Z, this figure was and still is wonderful. It's one of the harder to find and buy figures due to its higher than average price. Prize B was finally our first ever Masterlise Piccolo. How Bandai went so long without introducing a Masterlise Piccolo is beyond me, but hey, I'm not complaining. It's a one-to-one reference from his fight with the Cybermen in Dragon Ball Z. Prize C was our very first Ten Shinhan figure based on his fight against Jackie Chun during the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. They did give him his scar that he got from Tao Pai Pai in the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai though. Prize D is Yamcha doing his Spirit Ball technique from his battle with Shen during the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. This one definitely reuses most of the body from the History of Rivals Yamcha, but he is in a new pose with a different head sculpt altogether. Prize E is the only Masterlise E-moving of the set, and it's Chaozu. Chaozu isn't anybody's favorite character, let's be real, but it's still nice seeing the character recognized as a premium Masterlise figure with multiple heads and hands. And the last one prize is a manga color version of Goku and Gohan. They also had slightly different facial expressions. Let's not forget to mention the Dragon Archives lineup in this set as well. Vegito and Vegito Blue, Raditz, Farmer with Shotgun, and my personal favorite, Gotan, otherwise known as Gokul. This whole set is amazing and legendary, and it being the first Dragon Ball EX set in the whole series makes it that much more special. Between Omnibus and EX, Bandai must have realized at this point that they had a heavy-hitting series of figures that really spoke to the demand of the market. So of course, they kept up the momentum by giving us our second Omnibus set in May 2021, and this one is either as good as the first Omnibus set or even better. Dragon Ball vs. Omnibus Z was our big follow-up to the first Omnibus set. This set featured characters from the Namek Saga, Tournament of Power, Dragon Ball Z movies, Dragon Ball Super Broly, and even the Cell games. This also featured our next Goku Day Celebration figure too. Prize A was our first double pack of Dragon Ball figures since the last one prize from Strong Chains. Goku and Frieza during the big climax of the Tournament of Power when they defeat Jiren. Both figures are great, though I do feel like Frieza is a little strange with his likeness and proportion. Prize B was another King Cluster Broly, recycling the previous Dragon Ball Super Broly sculpts we've seen so many times. While I and many fans were completely exhausted from seeing Dragon Ball Super Broly at this point, the colors and details were perfectly done for him. Prize C also falls into a similar bucket as Broly, as it's yet another blue Gogeta figure, but now he's firing off his Stardust Breaker technique. This is also recognized as the definitive and best scaled Gogeta figure within the Masterlise line. Now the rest of this set is where things get really interesting. Prize D is yet another King Cluster Broly figure, but it's the best Broly figure ever made. Bandai went nuts and gave us Z Broly in his iconic legendary Super Saiyan form. The figure speaks for itself with its masterful levels of quality and size. Prize E is an accompanying figure for Broly as its Super Saiyan Goku. It's definitely more of a lazy recolor of the other Goku from Prize A, but it's still pretty good and gives a bit more variety to the set, even though he's not quite inspired by the Broly film. Prize F is a nice little bonus in the set with Dende, and the Namekian Dragon Balls were included within this lineup. The figure is cute and small, but nothing incredible. He might seem like an odd choice being here, but all of it makes sense with the last one prize being Porunga. Iwakura Keiji was back and wanted to show the world that his Shenron figure wasn't the peak of his work. This Porunga figure excels in every area and is universally recognized as one of the greatest Dragon Ball figures ever crafted. Now, while this set might seem like it's over because we've just gone over the last one prize, they did include a special commemorative Goku Day figure in the set. The special Goku Day prize was Super Saiyan Goku, taken during the week of peace before the Cell games. This figure was and still is one of the most unique and beautiful Goku figures due to his very unique outfit, whitish blonde hair, and that beautiful 4-star Dragon Ball in his hand. This set hit so hard, and I remember so many people going nuts over so many of these figures when it came out. Dragon Ball was riding high for Masterlise, but they weren't done yet. Dragon Ball EX came back way faster than expected, and this time they were flying in with Saiyan Saga figures. Dragon Ball EX Super Decisive Battle of the World Division made its debut in July 2021, with many people excited to see just how great it was. This set also marks the beginning of my favorite sculptor's work in the Masterlise series, Varuk. Varuk is a master at replicating Toriyama's art in 3D figures, so this set has plenty to talk about. Prize A is Varuk's contribution to this set with Vegeta. The figure speaks for itself as it looks nearly identical to the anime and manga at the time. Awesome features like a removable scouter for the Saiyan Prince. Prize B is Vegeta's best buddy at the time, Nappa. While the figure could have used an inch or two to really sell Nappa's size to us, it still came out rather large, with plenty of great details to appease us fiending collectors. Prize C is easily one of the greatest figures of all time. It's Kaioken x3 Son Goku, sculpted by one of the greatest Goku sculptors in the industry, Hiroyuki Nakazawa. The figure has amazing shading to replicate the Kaioken effect, detailed and bulging muscles to show off his detail. Prize D was Gohan. The figure largely reuses the sculpt of the Kid Gohan included in the Strong Chain's last one prize, but now it's his look from the Saiyan Saga. While this being a smaller figure in its own prize might have disappointed some, it was still an awesome inclusion that looks fantastic. Prize E was a lovely little bonus in the Cyberman. Cyberman looks great and very authentic. On top of that, he has arms and a head that you can move and position into different poses to your liking. Cyberman is cool, but I think he'll look even better if you decide to get 6 of him to really emulate the anime. The last one prize is possibly the low point of the set and something EX sets would continue to do for some time. You see, Dragon Ball EX sets would often recycle one of their prizes as the last one prize with minimal changes. This set's last one prize was Nappa, but now with a different expression and a hair accessory to replicate his look from the Bardock movie of all places. Of course, we need to recognize the Dragon archives in this set. Gohan and Haya Dragon, Goku on Nappa's head, King Kai, and Gohan transforming into an Uzaru. This lineup was simple, but executed with the utmost care and quality. It's still recognized as one of the best sets to this day, with many figures in it going for over $100 or $200 on the market. I don't think anybody was expecting this next set and the controversy that was behind it at the time of release. September 2021 gave us one of the most exciting Ichiban Kuji of all time, Dragon Ball Super back to the film. This set was focused on multiple characters and forms from various Dragon Ball films. This would be the start of one of the rarest and most requested series of Kuji from Bandai, but funnily enough, this set had so much controversy and misinformation surrounding it at release. Upon release, early videos and photos started surfacing of the figures from the set. Many people were trying to push a narrative that these figures were horrible and beyond repair. I speculate that a lot of this controversy was artificially manufactured in order to create some scarcity and discourage people from buying the set, as it was in high demand when it was coming out. A lot of the photos and videos I saw were taken with poor lighting or very unflattering angles. In reality, while the set had a couple of issues from a quality standpoint here or there, it turned out amazing. Prize A was the movie character himself, Broly. This was the final Dragon Ball Super Broly we would see from the King Cluster series. This was sculpted by someone we've been naming pretty frequently in this video, Iwakura Keiji. There are a lot of fans of this figure, but I'm not one of them. The figure is definitely the big culprit plagued with QC issues in this set. It doesn't completely connect its upper and lower body halves, has terrible balancing issues, loads of low quality paint problems. I also feel that Iwakura's more hyper-realistic style doesn't really fit this character. Prize B is yet another Gogeta figure, but this time it's Super Saiyan Gogeta from the Fusion Reborn film that he debuted in. This figure didn't make a huge splash at the time of its release, but since then he's gained a lot of favor from collectors due to his qualities like his halo, and hey, even each half of his face looks like Goku or Vegeta, just like the movie. Prize C satiates the not-so-starving Broly fans by giving us two Brolys to win within one prize. Both his 1993 and 1994 colors for Super Saiyan Broly. While I can agree that we'd have enough of Broly during this time, it was still amazing to get all of Z Broly's forms, besides his base form, in a single year. Prize D shifts back to the Dragon Ball Super Broly film and gives us Super Saiyan God Vegeta. I know a lot of people love this figure. Heck, I used to even say that this was my favorite Vegeta figure at one point in time. And again, it's still crazy that Vegeta and Trunks get a God Masterlise before Goku to this day. Bandai, what are you doing? Please hear my prayers. Please, Bandai. Prize E is Golden Frieza. Finally, Frieza getting his golden form in Masterlise just rocks. It does seem like the figure had a strange error with his eyes where they're placed a little bit too high, but it's not that bad in the slightest. The figure is awesome and one of the most slept on pieces in this set. Now, Prize F is the real showstopper. One of the greatest Dragon Ball figures of all time. Final form cooler as a Masterlise extra. The insane size and detail on this figure speak for themselves. He's certainly the most popular figure in this set and has only gone up in value and desirability over the year. And to bookend this set, the last one prize is a little bit of a disappointment in my eyes. It's a glossy color version of the Prize A Broly in this set. Talk about a downgrade of an already bad figure. Overall, this set is incredible. I know the two Brolys in it, being the King Cluster Prize A and the last one prize, definitely bring it down a little bit, at least for me. Seeing the demand for another film Kuji really shows that the controversy behind this set is really blown out of proportion and that people are wanting more and more from the Z movies from Bandai. We have two sets left to talk about in this video, and Bandai's 2021 wasn't pulling any more punches because the next set is a Super Dragon Ball Heroes set. Whoa, 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 whoa. Before you start the booze, let me explain, because I know Super Dragon Ball Heroes so far has not been great. It's not that popular, especially here in the West, but what if I told you that this next one is one of the best Super Dragon Ball Heroes sets that they've made, and honestly, one of the better Ichiban Kujis Masterlise has ever been featured in. Super Dragon Ball Heroes abandoned their previous naming convention for their sets established with Saga and just decided to simplify things by numbering each set. So in November 2021, they gave us Super Dragon Ball Heroes Third Mission. Nobody was really excited for this set, at least here in the West, due to the bad sets before it, Super Dragon Ball Heroes not really being a thing in the West, and only one of these figures being an overseas release. But those that do own any of the figures in the set really see how great it actually is. Prize A is Super Saiyan 4 Broly. Yes, the last Hero set also had a Super Saiyan 4 Broly, but this King Cluster figure was far bigger than the last and way more detailed. He's easily one of the greatest Broly figures they ever made. Prize B introduces a new and improved Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegito, now in his Limit Breaker form. Limit Breaker was a form exclusive to heroes where Super Saiyan 4 characters went even further beyond than their established strength. And this Vegito also went further beyond with his insane details. Now, Prize C is the one figure that released overseas for this set. It's Vegito Blue. Looks like Bandai really wanted to take a couple of characters from the first Super Dragon Ball Hero set and upgrade them, because this one, while not perfect, is certainly an improvement from the first Vegito Blue that we got. Prize D is the Crimson Masked Saiyan in his Super Saiyan Rosé form. Goku Black getting something so unique that really captures his personality was an absolute treat and one of the best Goku Black figures we ever got. Prize E is Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Goku in his Limit Breaker form. This set clearly wanted to push the new Limit Breaker forms, and using Super Saiyan 4 Goku is definitely a big brain marketing move. This figure is so good that some people have used it as a suitable substitute for the rare and expensive Greatest Saiyan Super Saiyan 4 Goku Masterlise. Prize E is our first ever Kai brought to the Masterlise line. The Supreme Kai of Time was a central character for Heroes and many Dragon Ball games during the 2010s. Seeing her as the connective tissues between these series was always fun, and having a dynamic figure of her was a nice bonus. The last one Prize grants the Super Saiyan 4 Broly from this set his own Limit Breaker form. While many of us loathe recolors in Kuji sets, it's still fantastic to give Broly the exclusive form from the series. That way you can pick and choose your favorites, or even have both of them to pair together. I think fans that actually participated in this Super Dragon Ball Heroes Kuji were baffled over the fact that finally even Heroes was getting really good figures. We truly entered the golden age of Dragon Ball collecting. But the final set in this video blew everyone away and is one of the greatest Ichiban Kuji sets of all time. Bandai had one more Omnibus set to give us, and this would be our big set to close out 2021 in December of that year. Merry Christmas! Dragon Ball vs. Omnibus Super included tons of characters from the Cell Saga, DBS Broly, and even Dragon Ball GT. Prize A was another double pack, Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta tag teaming to deliver a Kamehameha and Gallic Gun together. This was an awesome homage to the Broly movie and just looks absolutely incredible. I remember plenty of people wrote these figures off back during its release, but today their prices are rising and respect is being seen across the community. Prize B was another DBS Broly figure, but finally a Masterlise of his regular Super Saiyan form. Clearly they reused most of the body of the Broly from History of Rivals, but nobody cared because he's so sick. It's a great example of how a recycle can bring something new, fresh, and desirable. Prize C was Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I think it's clear that a lot of us don't love this Gogeta figure, as it's a downgrade from the Greatest Saiyan version, but it's a fine substitute for those that missed that first release. Prize D is a huge fan favorite, no pun intended. A Masterlise extra of Omega Shenron. Omega Shenron never receives merchandise, so this was a huge win for us collectors. He's huge, detailed, and one of the greatest figures we ever received. Prize E is Super Saiyan Trunks in his grade 3 form. Now this is a fan favorite for sure. People love Trunks, and having one of his most iconic forms in a 3D figure was just amazing. He's also one of the only Trunks Masterlise figures we got, which Bandai definitely needs to address and fix ASAP. Prize F is Perfect Cell. Finally, the man himself got a Masterlise extra figure. He's tall and menacing, just as Cell should be. I loved him so much that he was even one of my highest ranked figures of 2021 alongside Omega Shenron. Prize G, which by the way, how crazy is it that we have a Masterlise figure all the way down to Prize G? That's insane. There are so many figures in this set. But yeah, Prize G is Cell Jr., a nice little bonus to the set to have alongside Cell. And yeah, I do recommend having 7 of this little guy to really make your shelf pop. The last one prize is yet another dragon figure from Iwakura Keiji. Ultimate Shenron from GT really felt like one of the only missing dragons that we needed, and Bandai did it. This set is tremendous in its size, quality, variety. It's easy to see why so many fans think that this might be one of the best Kuji sets of all time. Whew, so yeah, Masterlise had a rocky start in its first 2 years on the market, but the following 2 years really established and evolved the series to a point where a lot of people were recognizing just how great it was. It addressed a lot of the problems that we had in those first 2 years in regards to the quality of the figures, figures, the consistency, and the variety of characters that we were seeing. But even with all of these great releases, we had no idea that the best was still yet to come. In our next video, we're going to talk about what I think is the best year Masterlise has ever had. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out our next historic video. Big thanks to Prithviraj for his awesome editing in these videos. Go check him out on Fiverr, guys. And if you need an awesome editor to help out your videos, I definitely recommend helping him out. And of course, big thank you to our YouTube members that support this channel in whatever capacity they see fit. If you want to become a YouTube member, feel free to join at whatever tier you want so you can see videos like this early and of course get included in the credits here. If you don't want to commit to being a YouTube member, you can just leave a tip here one time on the video. But more importantly, join our Discord server. There's a link down below in the description. That's where all the real fun starts, and I'd love to see you guys take a part in the community. But I think that's all I got for you guys today, so till the next video, I'll see you all later.